Okay, so one of the things we wanted to bring you was some of the latest research on the state of ransomware. Basically, it was a report that was done by Osterman Research Group in July for the small and medium-sized business space. It sort of revealed that 20% of organizations stop business immediately after an attack, and those organizations experience a downtime between 1 to 100 hours. But it also shows that out of 32% of organizations that did not pay, they lost files. I think what's magnifying the speed and extent of the damage, including the ransom amount sought, is the new worming capability of ransomware. As you can see from the research, about 44% of cases surveyed, the ransomware had spread to other devices on the network. I guess besides failed backup jobs and poor backup practices, there is the problem of infection magnification. This is what the media calls it. Basically, it only takes one infection for it to spread across the entire network, corrupting files along the way. And files that have been corrupted can be synced to other devices outside the network by file sharing platforms such as Dropbox and OneDrive. This causes corrupted files to be put into many backup instances, and the frequency of backups washes the corrupted file through the backup system of the affected organizations. So ransomware has basically taken the strength of backups and basically turned it into a weakness that they can exploit. In addition, I think security experts are warning that they're expecting ransomware to increasingly target backup files to increase their chance of getting paid. Many ransomware types already remove system restore points and Windows backup, such as Mafiaware, Spora, and Cerber, and Satan, and stuff like that. So I'll pass this now to Jason to give us an idea about how we approach these problems.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. So basically, Stephen's taken us through a bit of an update on the latest state of ransomware. And I guess the concern that we are seeing is that backups are not as strong as they appear. So first problem is that ransomware can use poisoned files, as an expression, to break down your backups and therefore weaken your protection. The way this works is after a crypto ransomware attack, your backup software will from that point onwards be backing up files that are encrypted. And the problem is this will push out legitimate files out of your backup history and can reduce your ability to restore. Imagine if you only had a single mirror backup. What happens when the backup runs again? And effectively it will wipe out your good files. Obviously that's an extreme case, but we do know this has happened. Or imagine if after an attack, a lot of your documents and files have been encrypted. And what this means is a lot of those files have changed, and so you might get an unexpectedly large incremental backup happening immediately after an attack. This could cause the backup software to try to make space to fit this large backup. And what will it do? It will remove some of your backup history. So that's the first problem I wanted to go through. Now, the other one that Stephen has already mentioned as well is ransomware can and will evolve, I'm sure, to start attacking backups directly. The only solid way of protecting against them is the air gap. So you have to have a gap between the network and the backups themselves, otherwise they are at risk. If it has a detection component, the backup software should detect when files have been encrypted and from that point onwards refuse to run any further backups so that all your backups won't be compromised. What if the backup software used some technology so that only the backup software itself can modify the backups? So any other processes would be blocked from doing right activities. Here we now introduce CryptoSafeGuard. CryptoSafeGuard has been designed to give you the 4 important roles. So the first one is the direct protection. It actively protects your backups from being encrypted. The second is detection. It detects infections on your file system and your files that you're backing up before running any backups. And then, if it's detected an infection, it will stop the backups from running to make sure they are not compromised. And it will immediately alert you via email notifications, your normal backup report notifications, and via SMS if you've configured it, so that you can then take the further action that you need to do to make your users' data safe. Before running a backup, CryptoSafeGuard executes a detection scan. It scans the system and that job's selection specifically to look for signs of infection. And if it is infected, it will tell you straight away. It sets the BackupAssist UI to a state that highlights there's an issue. It'll stop the backup, and as I mentioned, it sends the usual backup notifications. It'll send you an SMS straight away, and highly recommend that this is something that you do. And we'll stop any further backups from running as well until you say that it is all safe. Basically, we want to get the admin user involved. You have to decide, is this a real ransomware attack? And if it is, obviously the paths are clear. You must act quickly and isolate and clean and recover using the backups that are available. But it could be a false positive. It could be that CryptoSafeGuard has made a misidentification. This is always possible. So in this case, though, it's very quick and easy to handle the false positive, and you can review the files that were of concern. Maybe they're files that shouldn't be there, but they're not actually an infection, in which case you might delete them, or you can whitelist and ignore those files. Now, I'll talk more about whitelisting later, but this should not be a first port of call, and it's always important to track down any concerns first. But basically, after you've done the analysis and made those two calls, you can then, in the UI, just unblock CryptoSafeGuard, which will then resume normal backups. The normal process will proceed from there. BackupAssist will proceed with further scans before each backup to continue detecting for issues. You might compare the CryptoSafeGuard detection with traditional antivirus and malware, but it is quite different. So traditional anti-malware has a very difficult job. It tries to detect the introduction of infections and processes running and doing the wrong thing. And we liken this to really trying to predict a hurricane. It's not an exact science. It's very difficult, and sometimes things can get through. BackupAssist Detector is a second line of defense that will scan your files to just see if a system has been affected. The similarity is like having a look for the damage that a hurricane has caused. This is quite easy to see in comparison. So the detector has got a very high likelihood of seeing damage on the system and therefore detecting the infection. So basically, antivirus and malware focus on detecting and cleaning up threats as they're found directly. It's like a bouncer at a nightclub tries to stop problems from getting in, and if they do get in, we'll get them out again. And BackupAssist plus CryptoSafeGuard is focused specifically on providing and protecting your time machine, your backups. It's like putting your insurance policy inside a secure vault to make sure it's safe. When you configure your backup jobs and run your backup to a destination, CryptoSafeGuard initiates a right locking technology on each specific backup job's destination. This protection is active all the time. It's not a scan. It's as soon as the job is created and the destination straight away is protected from that point onwards, such that only BackupAssist processes can create or modify or delete files on that location. I've got a screenshot here which shows you when you try to click on new folder inside a backup destination. This is the sort of the error that's seen, and this is what ransomware can encounter. Many ransomwares are actually fairly poorly coded, and hopefully this remains the case for the long term, that some of them actually fail and drop out their encryption activities when they encounter a problem like this. So this is not a little locking activity. This is a very strong locking process. The protector is designed to prevent unauthorized processes on the BackupAssist machine from writing to the backup. Now, we need to be clear that it is not preventing other machines from writing to the backup, and CryptoSafeGuard is not a full replacement for good security practices that you will normally configure with your backups.
So, Jason, what you're saying is, CryptoSafeGuard is a complementary layer of protection for the companies that are already doing and putting in multiple layers of, first line of defense. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. So it is complementary. That's a good word.
So we're not telling everyone to go out and stop your AV solution or firewall, turn them off. We're not saying that.
Yep, that's right. This is a last line of defense.
Yeah.
On the left-hand side of this screen here, I'm showing a BackupAssist machine, which is running a backup, and you can see with the green arrow it's able to write to the backup destination, which is in this case an external hard disk, and the backup protector lets the backup activity through because it's BackupAssist. On the right-hand side, we have a protected server that has a unauthorized, a red process running on it that is attempting to write to that backup destination, and up jumps the backup protector to get in the way and prevent that writing activity. This mechanism works identically for NAS. Now, the diagram on the right-hand side here now shows that another infected server, if it has authorization to the backup destination, could theoretically still impact the backups. It's not a static protection on the backup destination or the backup media. It is an active one when running on the protected server. You should be encrypting your backups, no doubt, but they offer no protection at all against ransomware attacks that will encrypt your backup files further so that you can't read them, could corrupt them, or may delete them. There's no protection given in that manner. In BackupAssist, we highly recommend that you set up a backup user identity so that you can control the access to your backups. So CryptoSafeGuard is an extra layer of defense over the top of those for your backups that will prevent unauthorized processes from writing over your backups. And it works even if that account has authorization to write to the backup destination. So you could be attacked by what are called crypto ransomware, which basically is the most common one, and it encrypts your files and then asks for a ransom to get them back. If you are attacked by these types of ransomware, CryptoSafeGuard will detect or can detect the infection. It will alert you so you can take action, and it will protect your backups so you can restore and recover. Now, you could be attacked by a locker type of ransomware. Now, these ransomwares could well encrypt files as well, but at the worst, they will lock your system so you can't get in. So another example that has a similar action is wiper ransomware that isn't really ransomware at all. It is actually just about being very nasty and deleting your files. So Petya, NotPetya, and these are all variants that were initially thought to be ransomware because they did ask for a ransom, but in fact, many variants, they simply could not. There was a fault in the encryption process that means you couldn't get your data back. So it's believed to be intentional. So these are very bad malwares that you could get affected by. So CryptoSafeGuard, again, we've mentioned it has two levels of protection. Even if files are not being encrypted, CryptoSafeGuard protects your backups so that if you are hit by one of these types of malwares, you can restore and recover.
So just to be clear, Jason, CryptoSafeGuard doesn't stop ransomware from attacking the machine that it's on.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's only there to protect the backups that BackupAssist creates.
Yep, that's right. Look, if your antivirus, anti-malware tools if they let something through that does get onto your system, then CryptoSafeGuard will continue to protect the backups, and that's its priority.
Yeah. And I think a couple of reports that we've read off, and that's happened this year, also shows that those companies, high-profile companies that like Merck and some of the hospitals that got hit, they were running sort of antivirus and stuff like that, and it does show that sometimes they're not 100% effective, and that's where you need as many layers of protection as you can get.
Yeah, I think that's a clear message we're trying to give here. Is if you can have an extra layer of protection, then you should take it, because you want those backups to be there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So CryptoSafeGuard detection, we use a good number of complementary methods to try and detect ransomware. It's not just one straight tool. It is a suite of tools that we use to try and detect.
Did you include the algorithm that I wrote for you, Jason? Or
no, I've learnt to steer away from your algorithms, Stephen.
Okay.
Sorry. But the scans are actually hierarchical. So we want to make sure that when we are running a detection at the start of the backup, we're not going to take too long to do this. We firstly run a fast checks over the selections and the system, and if we do find anything that looks concerning, then we'll do some further checks to make sure and to see if there is actually a threat.
So it's like a top-level quick scan, and then if any files are suspicious, we go deeper, which takes a little bit longer.
And also, actually, one point I didn't include here is that when you first run a backup job, it will do a full scan, but afterwards it will actually do an incremental scan. So it is similar in concept to doing an incremental backup. It will be much quicker on the subsequent times. Some of our scans and methods do rely on signatures of known ransomware, and these will be things we will update over time. But what is good is that most of the capabilities are actually not reliant on signatures and of specific and known ransomwares. They're actually looking at the way that ransomware do affect files and looks for those sort of effects that ransomware has on your data. So they're actually quite immune to, quite capable of detecting attacks by new variants that we haven't specifically coded.
Yeah, I think that's important. Yeah,
I mentioned before that when we do find a false positive where we think there is a potential problem, but there's actually not, and it's just a file type that we have maybe mishandled. You can use the whitelist to add that file or file type or directory to the whitelist, and that will make sure that it won't get scanned again and won't continue to trigger false positives. The whitelisting feature is there, and you can at any time modify the whitelist, but it is probably interesting to note that the whitelist is not a tool that you should go, look, I don't want CryptoSafeGuard to scan here, I'm going to add this to the whitelist straight away. It's not something that should really be thought of proactively. It's more a tool to use if CryptoSafeGuard does encounter something that it doesn't fully understand. One important thing we should talk about is how do you get CryptoSafeGuard? Well, it is a free component of our new Backup Care subscription service. So make sure that when you do purchase BackupAssist, you do get the as much backup care as you can, and then you'll get your CryptoSafeGuard for free with that. So you also get free technical support and access to the latest major versions of BackupAssist.
do is just... All you gotta do is you.